Magandang umaga. Ating pag-usapan ang nangyari po na bakit marami bigla-bigla halos sabay-sabay na mga bansa nag-withdraw sa ICC. Una, Philippines at saka yung isa, Burundi nag-withdraw. Philippines nag-withdraw, dalawa pa lang. Pagkatapos diyan, nagsunod withdraw Burkina Faso na bansa. Tapos Chad, nag-withdraw na Niger, nag-withdraw na Venezuela. So marami na nag-withdraw. Hungary gusto na rin mag-withdraw. O listahin ko kung ano. Ang pinakamalaki pong financier ng ICC ay Japan. So kung Japan na mag-withdraw, kawawa pala talaga ang ICC. Ang number 2 contributor nito ay Germany. Germany, malayo diferensya. Japan, in pesos, about 100 billion pesos ang binibigay ng Japan sa ICC. So ito po mga withdrawal na ito ay na-trigger ito ng number 1 nawala ng tiwala ang mga bansang ito nag-withdraw. Pilipinas ay biktima sa mga overstretching na interpretation para magkaroon ng jurisdiction. Yan ang ginagawa ng ICC. Kung susundin mo ang sulat na nakalagay sa Rome Statute, hindi na member ng Pilipinas dapat wala ng jurisdiction. Tandaan niyo po, mga kababayan, tandaan niyo po mga kababayan, ang tawag nito. Ito ba tayo pangit ang kundi. Hello, again. Tandaan niyo po mga kababayan, ang principle po sa international law, kailan ba magkaroon ng jurisdiction ng isang korte sa mga bansa? Kapag ang bansa po ay pumayag magpasakop. Ihalimbawa na lang natin ang arbitral award ng Permanent Court of Arbitration sa The Hague din laban sa China sa usapin sa West Philippine Sea na kung saan nagdesisyon ang PCA or Permanent Court of Arbitration na ang ating may karapatan tayo sa lahat ng parte ng dagat na basta na sa loob ng ating East Economic Zone, EEZ, Exclusive Economic Zone, 200 miles from the shore. So, pagkatapos, meron tayong right dyan na mga right natin kagaya ng pag-drill kung merong mang-oil, ating right yan. Natural resources dyan, although isda, hindi ako conforme sa pagsabi na exclusive right natin yung mga isda. Ang isda kasi po, ang nature ng isda, palangoy-langoy ang isda. So kung imagine mong isda sa linya ng economic zone, galing Philippines, lalangoy palabas. Tapos pabalik. Ganon po yun. So, ang sistema kung bakit hindi may patupad yung award ng panalo natin ay hindi po ginagalang ng China. Ever since up to now, 2016 yun pagpasok ni Duterte sa pagka-presidente, hanggang ngayon ay hindi pa na ipapatupad yung sinasabi sa award na yan. So, ito po, ang problema po natin yan sa ICC ay, ulitin ko lang po, ito nakikinig aking kaibigan, kung bakit nawawala. Ano na bang nawawalang bansa? Burkina Faso, isa. Chad, umalis na rin. Ang Niger, umalis na rin. Ang Venezuela, umalis na rin. Umalis ng Pilipinas, 5 na. Umalis ng Burundi, so 6. May iba pang aalis. So ito po, ang mga bansang ito ay umalis dahil po sa pressure ng United States of America. Ang Pilipinas hindi lang kasi umalis na tayo, pero si Marco Rubio pumunta sa atin, pasikreto lang, ay pinipirsas tayo na huwag igalang ang ICC. Ang problema naman yan, may pressure na binigay sa ating bansa at ang sinasabi na pressure ay tinatahimik lang. Pero nakikita mo sa pamagitan ng pag-ayaw ng Pilipinas, tinaasan po yung tax na mga produkto natin na papasok sa Amerika, tinaasan ng 12.5%. Ganun po magtrabaho ang Amerika. So, ngayon, sa totoo lang, okay sana yung ICC, wala sanang alis dyan kung hindi sila overstretching kung mag-interpret ng kanilang kapangyarihan. Tingnan na lang natin, nag-interpret sila kung may kapangyarihan ba sila magpalabas ng warrant of arrest laban kay Putin kung ang Russia ay hindi naman kasapi. Ininterpret nila na may kapangyarihan sila na palabasan ng warrant of arrest si Putin. At ang nangyari nun kasunod, ang mga judge sa Russia ay nagkaroon ng trial, kinasuhan ang lahat ng mga prosecutor na may kagawan at judge na nag-issue ng warrant of arrest sa korte naman sa Russia. Meron sila tinatawag na wala silang respeto ang Russia sa due process. Kaya diretso, nagsentensya ang Russian court na may standing warrant of arrest na sa mga concerned prosecutors. Isa dyan sa prosecutor na arestuhin ay si Karim Khan. Ang problema, attorney kay Karim Khan, ay nawalan na siya ng trabaho, tinanggal siya ng ICC dahil sa sexual conduct. So, kaya nga ako, natanggalan ako, na-disbar ako, happy pa rin ako at heads up pa rin ako kasi ang dahilan ng aking pagtanggal ng lisensya ay pakipaglaban sa korupsyon. Sa pagkikipaglaban ko lang sa korupsyon, ang mali ko raw ay pinost ko sa Facebook. So, wala tayong magagawa. Yan ang desisyon ng Supreme Court. At actually, sa totoo lang, Supreme Court ng Pilipinas, ginagawa lang ako doon poster boy para gawin ako yung example sa lahat ng abogado. So anyway, let's go back to the interpretation problem. Sa Russia, ang basihan lamang nila ay dahil member ng ICC ang Ukraine at ang mga bata sa Ukraine ay kinuha ng mga sundalo ng Russia at dinala sa Russia. So ang tawag niya parang child trafficking. So ang tawag niya crime against humanity. So with that, pinalabasan ng warrant of arrest ng ICC si President Putin at saka yung ang opisyal niya na babae na in charge sa pagdala ng mga bata mula sa Ukraine papunta sa Russia. Ngayon, nagalit ang Russia dyan. Next, nagalit din si Donald Trump sapagkat ang ginawa naman ng ICC sa Amerika, yung mga Amerikano sundalo na tinagurian na nambugbog ng mga Afghanistan ay ininvestigate ng ICC at gusto na palabasan ng warrant of arrest. So hindi lang po sa Afghanistan ng mga sundalo ng Amerika ang kinakasuhan, iba't ibang lugar pa. So because of that, nakikialam pa yung ICC sa galaw ni Trump. Ngayon, gusto naman ni Trump kukunin si Maduro, yung presidente dati ng Venezuela, ay nakialam pa ang ICC. O ngayon, pinilit ni Trump kunin si Maduro para doon itatrial sa Amerika sa sala na pag-susupply ng heroin or cocaine. O, dapat ang kausap na si President Marcos. Kasi kung gano'n, President Marcos, libre yan. Wala nang problema, di ba? Pero anyway, iba yung market kasi ng Venezuela ay New York. Sa New York, nagtatrial si President Maduro. Kasama pa ang asawa ni President Maduro. Imagine, grabe ang mga sundalo nagbabantay sa kay Maduro. Pero kuha pa rin siya ng Amerikano. Mga isang batalyon na nag-hire pa sila ng sundalo galing Cuba. So mga Cuban ang kanilang sundalo. Wala, pinagbanatan lang ng Amerika. Minutes lang, nakuha na. So ngayon, yan ang nangyari. Di nagalit ang ICC diyan. Tapos, bago pala makagalaw ang ICC, inutusan ang pumalit na presidente, tinuro na ni Trump sa Venezuela. So inutusan na ni Trump ang presidente na i-withdraw na ang Venezuela sa ICC. Kaya nag-withdraw ang ICC ang Venezuela. So, pag ilan ang Venezuela nag-withdraw? Ang una ay Burundi, State of Burundi, tapos State of Philippines. So, ang Burundi, Africa, Philippines, sa Asia. Tapos nag-withdraw ay ang Chad nag-withdraw o Africa. Nag-withdraw din ang Nigeria o Africa din 'yan. Mag-withdraw na rin ang Burkina Faso, Africa din 'yan. 5 na. Nag-withdraw ang Venezuela. Actually, nauna pang Venezuela. So 6 na. Actually, mag-withdraw na rin yung Hungary. So kasi binalaan ng ICC ang Hungary na bakit nyo tinanggap si Netanyahu sa Hungary. May warrant o si Netanyahu sa ICC. So dahil diyan nagagalit ang Hungary. Ibig sabihin, nag-umpisa lang ito sa kanilang problema na mahilig maghimasok. O sa Israel naman, nagalit naman ang Israel sa ICC sapagkat hindi naman member ng ICC ang Israel. Bakit mo palabasan ng warrant of arrest si Netanyahu at saka yung kanyang assistant? So, iyan nagalit. Kakampi ng Amerika ang Israel, nagalit silang tatlo. So, ngayon, ang tatlong galit na yan, ang Amerika, they brought the fight to the higher level na binabalaan, kinakampanyahan ang mga allies ng Amerika na mag-dissociate na o umalis na sa ICC. So, yan ang samples na pinapakita ko sa inyo na masyado silang pinapalapad nila ang kanilang interpretasyon ng kanilang jurisdiction na pwede lang sasakupin. So, ibig sabihin, itong modern na nanlulusob na klase na organisasyon na nanlulusob sa mga bansa-bansa sa pamamagitan ng korte, na sistema ng korte. Ang ibang bansa, lumusob gamit ang armas. Ito gamit ang mga decisions nila sa kanilang mga sistema. Because of that, nawalang tiwala. Ngayon, pasok na sa Pilipinas. Kung Pilipinas, tingnan mo, ang Pilipinas po ay umalis officially noong March 16, 2018. Ito ay umalis pagkatapos magpalabas ng tinatawag na preliminary examination dating prosecutor na si Fatou Bensouda noong February 8, 2018. So ngayon, dahil sinunod naman ni Duterte ang pag-withdraw, binigay niya sa Secretary General ng United States base sa nakasulat sa Rome Statute. Ang Rome Statute po kasi, mga kaibigan ko, yan po ang batas ng ICC kung paano ginawa ang ICC. So, pagkatapos niyan, 1 year ang nakalagay. So, after 1 year, so March 16, 2019, ay last day na ng Philippines bilang ICC member. So, March 17, hindi na member ang Philippines sa ICC. So, kung hindi na member, ibig sabihin po, walang consent ang Philippines na makialam ang ICC sa Pilipinas. So, ngayon, ito na ngayon. Paangat na tayo ngayon. Ang ginawa ay nagbilang ka pa, 2019. Tapos May 24, 2021. Ilang taon yan? Mahigit na 2 taon mula dun sa March 17, 2019. Aba, yung prosecutor nagsampa ng request for authority na mag-investigate sa Pilipinas. Pero mo, kita mo na umalis na ngayon ng tao eh. So wala na siyang consent. Tapos lumakas ng isang taon na palugit na yung 1 year na mula nang nag-withdraw ang Pilipinas, magiging epektibo ang pag-withdraw, ay nag-apply pa rin sila ng authority to investigate. So yung March 24 na yon ay inaprubahan noong September 15, 2021. Pero walang ano. Nung inaprubahan, nag-investigate sila. Pag-investigate nila, fast forward, walang nangyari mula noong 2021, September, hanggat sa 2025. Bakit walang nangyari? Ibig lang po sabihin, pwede ko interpret yan, attorney, na wala talagang ebidensya laban sa kahit sino man sa atin sa Pilipinas. Kasi kung may ebidensya sila, mahaba na yan, attorney, sa kahit sinong abogado ang isang buwan na hindi makapag-desisyon kung may kaso sila sa Pilipinas o wala. Eh bakit September 15, 2021 at dumating na yung March 7, 2025, saka pa lang sila nagpalabas ng warrant of arrest laban kay Duterte. Pero yan, bago yan, nagsampa muna sila ng request for warrant of arrest ang prosecutor noong February 10, 2025. At yung pagsapa nila noon ay the year before na dumating doon si Las Cañas at nagbigay ng kanyang affidavit. So kung babasahin mo po ang order ng warrant of arrest ng ICC, nakabase sa, most of them, nakabase ang meritos doon sa sinabi ni Las Cañas. So, ang sinabi ni Las Cañas doon, pinaniwalaan ng ICC, kaya nagdesisyon ito ng palabas na warrant of arrest. Pagkatapos sa issue naman, magtanong, bakit tayo mag-issue pa ng warrant of arrest? Diba nag-withdraw ng Pilipinas? Ganito po yung ginawa nila. Masyado na nilang in-overstretch sa interpretation. Sinabi nila, hindi, sa Article 127 ng Rome Statute, nagsasabi, ang lahat ng bansa ay malaya na mag-withdraw sa ICC membership. Pero kailangan may isang taong palugit. Kailangan maging final siya after 1 year minimum. Pwedeng, yung mag-withdraw na state, pwedeng pahabain. Pero in our case, hindi tayo nag-request na mahabang panahon. Understood na 1 year ay withdraw na tayo. Pero may nakalagay po na kondisyon, 4 na kondisyon sa pag-withdraw sa ilalim ng Article 127 ng International Criminal Court. Ano yung first condition? Yun ay kailangan 1 year ang palugit bago maging final. Number 2 condition, dapat nakapagbayad ng tinatag na membership dues ang Philippines sa ICC at magbigay ito ng contribution para sa pagpatakbo ng korte. Kumbaga, yan po ang contribution para pambayad sa mga sweldo sa mga lahat ng tao ng ICC. Number 3 ay dapat makipag-cooperate ang Pilipinas kung mayroon mang kasunduan na ginawa ito sa ICC habang ito ay kasapi pa, habang ang Pilipinas ay kasapi pa ng ICC o di kaya habang ang withdrawal ay hindi pa naging final. Number 4 condition, at kung merong any matter under consideration ng court ay tuloy-tuloy pa daw yung matter na yun na magtatakbo. So ngayon, because of that matter, interpret nila na ang physical preliminary examination na ginawa noong February 8, 2008 ay ininterpret ng mga judges ng ICC na pwedeng pagkukunan ng jurisdiction ng Pilipinas. Sapagkat naman daw ay ang mga krimen na nangyari noong panahon na yon ay member pa ang Pilipinas. So pwede nila daw sakupin sa jurisdiction. So yan po nangyari. So because of that, in-overstretch nila talaga. Kasi nasang-ayon naman po sa Article 12, paragraph 2 ng Rome Statute at Article 13, paragraph C ng International Criminal Court Rome Statute ay nagsasabi bago magbigay ng authority to investigate, kailangan ay member ang estado, ang state o ang bansa kung saan kung ang bansa na imbestigahan. Kasi ang bansa naman imbestigahan hindi yung tao. Kung mag-imbestiga sila sa bansa, saka pa lang makikita kung sino sa bansang iyon ang mga tao na involved. So with that, in-interpret nila, nasako pa rin. Kung ako tanungin mo, preliminary examination is that preliminary investigation. Ang examination ay parang pulis ka lang po na nag-iimbestiga ka sa palakad mo. Meron kang kasong double murder, hinanap. Hindi mo makita ang mga pumatay. So, ikot ngayon ang detective, naghanap ng ebidensya. Hanggat sa makakita sila ng ebidensya, pag tingin nila sapat na ang examination nila ng mga ebidensya, saka pa lang sila magsasampa ng formal investigation para preliminary examination sa lamesa ng prosecutor's office. In the same manner, ganun din ang principle working on the preliminary examination. So, there is nothing o wala po sa Rome Statute na nagsasabi na nagbibigay ng kapangyarihan sa preliminary examination na maglilitis ng kaso laban sa sinumang tao ang makikita sa bansa na kung saan ay mayroong preliminary examination. So, example lang yan. Because of that, marami po ang nagsialis. So, ngayon, ano ang moral ground ng mga ICC judges na kukunin tatanggapin ang kaso ni Duterte? So, time will heal. Ngayon, may sinasabi tayo, si Jesus Christ, sa panahon na siya tinatrial, nililitis ni Poncio Pilato, sabi ng mga Hudyo na nagiging judges ay guilty si Jesus Christ. Sa panahon na yun, wala talagang magsasabi na hindi guilty si Jesus Christ. Ngayon, sa panahon nito, parang inihambing ko si Duterte, guilty siya sa mata ng mga kumakalaban sa kanya. Marami po ang mga sinasabi na guilty sa panahon niya, pero paglipas ng panahon ay hindi na naging guilty. Isa rin pong halimbawa si Andres Bonifacio. Hinatulan ng tribunal na binuo ni Emilio Aguinaldo ng guilty sa treason, pagtatraidor sa inang bayan. At hinatulan siya ng kamatayan. Na pinatay na po si Andres Bonifacio. Walang kalaban-laban. Pero yung kwento ng buhay ni Andres Bonifacio at ng mga kasamahan niya sa Katipunan, yan ang tinatawag sa English na compelling. Compelling, napakalakas yung nature at patuloy pa ikot-ikot ng kwento kahit na hindi nga sinasabi. Dapat kung may subject sa Lives and Works of Rizal, dapat meron yung subject na compulsory din, Lives and Works of Andres Bonifacio. So nakikita niyo po mga kaibigan, may mga taong patay na, sinintensyan na. Pero pag ikot ng panahon, darating ang araw na bumabaliktad. At sinintensyan pa siyang inosente sa pamamagitan ng pag-proclaim sa kanya ng national hero. Ganun po ang pag-inog ng mundo. So, ibig sabihin, nothing to worry. Kung this time, ang nangyari po ay pakinggan siguro mas maganda pakinggan natin yung galing sa puso na hinanakit ni Sara Duterte na nag-speech siya sa kanina doon sa harap ng ICC sa the Netherlands. Pakinggan po natin. Bago ko siya sinasalang dito, nagkwento muna ako para maintindihan niyo po ang konteksto ng lahat ng ito. So ito po si Sara Duterte. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, ito na po.
President Rodrigo, ang ICC ay tutak ni Trillanes at ni Marcos.
Yes!
Because the ICC has no other case except for the case of President Rodrigo Duterte. That is true, ma'am. He's the poster boy right now.
Gandang umaga, Bing
The
Liwan,
one and only.
Grace Line.
Oh, we have an Asian now. We're done with the blacks.
Mitoy,
Let's go to the
gandang
Asians.
umaga.
To hell with the whites. We cannot go after them.
Dario Arellano, good morning.
Magsisimula ako, mga kababayan, sa paalala sa International Criminal Court na hindi nila pwedeng gamitin sa mga desisyon nila ang mga sinasabi natin patungkol sa kaso ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa ating mga actions of support kay dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. At syempre, sa mga assessment at opinion natin. Dahil walang nagbabawal sa Rome Statute na ipahayag natin ang ating mga nararamdaman. Lahat ng kanilang pinapalabas, nire-release publicly, ay pwedeng pag-usapan at pwedeng bigyan ng komento.
Ang ganda ng background na today. ICC na headquarters ng
ano
background.
ang tingin ko sa desisyon na nilabas
Doon
ng
yun
ICC.
ang rally.
Ang sinasabi ko lagi,
Sa
walang
harap ng
basihan sa
Digital.
batas. Ano ba ang pinagbasihan nila?
ICC.
Libro ng isang tao na hindi mo naman alam kung ano ang kredibilidad? Suporta ng mga tao? Siyempre, dahil dating head of state yan, dating pangulo yan, minamahal yan ng marami. Siyempre, meron talaga tayong ipapakita na suporta. Ako, anak, kapamilya, siyempre, magagalit ako sa ginawa sa aking ama at sa isang Pilipino na ninakaw, kinuha, kinidnap doon sa Pilipinas para ihatid dyan sa ICC. Let us start in the year 2017. In 2017, a lawyer submitted a communication to the International Criminal Court. And this was supplemented
2017,
by a communication by former Senator Trillanes and another person. That was in
Attorney Jun
2017.
Sabio.
In 2018, the court took it under consideration. Between 2017 until 2021, there was investigation, no investigation,
Ang haba ng
investigation
investigation na nangyari.
put on hold. Let us start first with the
2018 hanggang
complainant.
2021,
Who
3
is
years.
Trillanes? Trillanes is the person behind the Oakwood Mutiny and the Manila
Correct.
Peninsula Siege, which was against who? It was against President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo. Trillanes stood on the platform of anti-corruption against Arroyo. We do not know the dealings, the negotiations behind the mutiny and the siege. That is not discussed
Yung mga pakawala
publicly.
ng mga
When did we next
Dinaw,
see
mga kaliwa,
Trillanes?
tsaka pinklawan.
We saw him next
Bobo raw si
in
Sara. Kita mga
the
English, ang galing ng
Jejomar
English.
Binay attack. Vice President
Ang galing ng Latin.
Binay was a candidate, a presumptive candidate for the 2016 election. And then what did he do? He attacked Vice President Binay on the platform of anti-corruption. But you must remember, he never attacked President Aquino on the platform of anti-corruption. And you remember the DAP, the pork barrel scam of the Aquino administration. And where was Trillanes then? Quiet. Because we do not know how much, where, how, when the negotiations happened. When did you see him again? Trillanes, hear about him again. You heard about him in 2016 because President Duterte was the front runner. In April 2016, President Duterte was already the front runner of the presidential elections. Everyone forgot about Mar Rojas, the candidate of Trillanes. Everyone was focused on Rodrigo Duterte, including Trillanes. This was the first time you heard about EJK, DDS, bank accounts, billions in the bank accounts. This was in 2016. In 2017, he filed the communication in ICC. And if you can remember, President Duterte never did anything against Trillanes, against the witnesses of Trillanes during the Senate hearing. He presented Bato-Bato, he presented Las Cañas, and he claimed so many things about the Davao Death Squad. And what did President Duterte do? He told everyone, pabayaan niyo yan. It is his right to speak. It is his freedom to talk about the Davao Death Squad. So that is Trillanes. That is Trillanes. Against Gloria Arroyo, anti-corruption, against Binay, anti-corruption, against Rodrigo Duterte, anti-corruption, EJK. But do you hear him speak of anti-corruption when it comes to President Aquino and President Marcos? Makes you question, what is the anti-corruption platform for? Whose interest is he serving?
Yellow.
This is yellow, pink, red. Lahat ng kulay, maliban lang sa green.
Lucky charm.
He is quiet when negotiations happen for his interest. But if negotiations are for the interest of, against the interest of the Trillanes, he is noisy. So that is 2017 in the background of the person who sent the communication to ICC. Now here comes ICC. We will put on hold the investigation through the years, and then come 2021, we will investigate. And who is the person, who was the prosecutor who finally defended the investigation? It was Prosecutor Karim Khan, who was dismissed for an entirely different issue, but there was one issue about Karim Khan in relation to the case of President Rodrigo Duterte. And what was it? He had conflict of interest because his previous work was representation of the victims of supposed EJK under the Commission on Human Rights in the Philippines. That was his conflict of interest. But did ICC say categorically that you have conflict of interest? They did not. They just said that the appearance of impropriety excludes him from this case. But how can you give credibility to an investigation by someone who represented the victims? And now you're saying he must be investigated and prosecuted. That is clear conflict of interest. It muddles the entire investigation. That is our complainant, that is our prosecutor. We go to jurisdiction. ICC said, we have jurisdiction because we took the complaint under consideration before the Philippines withdrew as a member of the International Criminal Court. And what does that mean? It means that if you take it under consideration, before withdrawal of a country, there will always be an open complaint, open under consideration, open investigation through the years, even if the ICC will not act on it. And is that justified? Of course not, because it will be a perpetual investigation. There must be an end to the perceived liability, to the under consideration, to the investigation. Otherwise, it will be 300 years from now, assuming this ICC will exist for 300 years, there will be an open, under consideration, complete communication inside the ICC. That is what the countries who are withdrawing now from the ICC should watch out. Because if there is something under consideration there, even if they withdraw 50 years from now, kung buhay pa yung ICC, they can file a case.
Yan ang ina-argument ko, kahit 1 million years later, pwede
you
ka
have
pumasok
no
ka Duterte.
jurisdiction. 2 years has passed since
Absurd.
the withdrawal
Susundin mo yung
of the
interpretation
Philippines
nila.
from the ICC before any formal inquiry was done. If that is allowed, then there will be no end to the ICC going after sovereign nations. That is jurisdiction. We go to how the ICC disregarded how former President Rodrigo Duterte was kidnapped from the Philippines. They say it doesn't matter to us how he was taken, where he was taken, by what means he was taken. What matters to us was that he was delivered to The Hague and endorsed to the ICC. If this is about justice, then why does it allow injustice to happen to people who are respondents of communications, of complaints inside ICC? Next, we go to interim release, the release of President Duterte. There are 3 things in the Rome Statute that are to be considered before a release can be considered or granted to a respondent. First is that he is not a flight risk. Second is that he does not, will not, cannot obstruct the ongoing investigation. And third, he cannot continue to commit crimes under the ICC jurisdiction. You saw President Duterte being pushed, pulled outside of the room, pushed into a plane. Is that a person who is a flight risk? He cannot even walk 3 steps and fall to the ground. In fact, how many times has he slipped and hit his head in detention? No one can count anymore. And no one is talking about it. Because why? President Duterte is the Asian poster boy in answer to the attacks that ICC is only going after the black race. He is a flight risk because of the support of the Filipinos around the world. Is that an assessment, a correct measure of a flight risk? Second, he cannot continue to interfere or obstruct any investigation. Investigation started when? When he was president. The witnesses, Matubato, Las Cañas, when he was president. And what did he do? Nothing at all. He allowed the ICC to say whatever it wants, to do whatever it wants, even when he was president. When he was former president, I told him the ICC is doing an investigation. The investigators are coming in and out of the country. We have proof of immigration records. And what did he say to me? Pasan di na sila. Di na sila pwede manghilabot sa ato ang nasod. Pasan di na sila magsulod gawas dinhi sa ato ang nasod. And I knew that something was happening because I hear it from the office of the former speaker, Romualdez. And so I put it on record. What did I do? I wrote the president. Why is the ICC continuing the investigation inside the Philippines? And then he said, what did he say? He said, we will not cooperate in any shape or form with the ICC because it is an infringement in our sovereignty. On that point, he was correct. Because our judicial courts are functioning. We can go to court, file a complaint, the judge can hear it, the judge can decide, the judge can put you to jail easily. There is no breakdown of the judicial system in the Philippines. And so, any interference of the ICC is an affront to our sovereignty. And that is the only correct thing that Marcos did, or Marcos said about ICC, that letter. But did he follow through on what he said? He presented a letter, he released an official letter, but his left hand was doing other negotiations. He was doing exactly the opposite of his letter. He was allowing the investigation to happen, supported by the House of Representatives and Antonio Trillanes. And so we go to the corruption in the investigation. Former soldiers, former employees of Congressman Zaldico already executed affidavits saying that they were told to exchange pesos to dollars because this will be delivered to the ICC investigators through Trillanes. And this is not hearsay because the person who did the delivery, who received the instructions, who went to the money exchange and exchanged for dollars, who delivered the money was the same person who talked to Zaldico. And so, how do we characterize Trillanes and Marcos in relation to ICC? Yes, they are traitors to a Filipino and to the country. But more than that, ang ICC ay tuta ni Trillanes at ni Marcos.
Yes!
Because the ICC has no other case except for the case of President Rodrigo Duterte. And they found what? And they found Marcos, Trillanes, and money in the Philippine case. Maleta ang pinag-uusapan dito.
Reset.
So where is the justice in all this? There is no justice for the Philippines, there is no justice for the Filipinos, and there is no justice for former President Rodrigo Duterte. That is true, ma'am. He's the poster boy right now of ICC. The one and only. Oh, we have an Asian now. We're done with the blacks. Let's go to the Asians. To hell with the whites. We cannot go after them. Let's go after this one person who was delivered by Marcos to us. So that is the complainant, Trillanes, his cohort, Marcos, the jurisdiction, the investigator, the investigation. Do you want to go to the evidence?
Yes.
What are they saying? They are saying there was what? How many? How many did the media portray? 30,000. And then it was reduced to 13,000. And now it is how many? 34, 32 counts of murder. That amounts to, they say, crimes against humanity.
Humanity.
The government has a policy of zero tolerance for illegal drugs. The Philippine government has a policy of zero tolerance for illegal drugs. How did the administration of President Duterte implement this policy? They created the drug war. That is the program. That is the anti-drug program. It is called drug war. Tokhang. Now, the implementation of a program, whether it was good or bad, is not a crime against humanity.
Yan ang
It
totoo
may
nangyari,
be good
Benedict
governance
Amador.
or bad governance. It is the same. It is the same with how President
Pasensya na tayo,
Marcos
hindi
is
ka
running the
nagtutubtas
country
sa
right
reality.
now. It can be good governance or it is clearly bad governance. That is not a crime against the Filipino population. How a program is implemented, whether there were mistakes, errors, it was a bad program, is not a crime against humanity. That is the crime that they are saying that President Duterte has done to the Filipino people. And they cannot even say right now if the victims are truly victims of the drug war, because gun violence is so common in the Philippines. I have a husband. My husband has a mistress. I can hire a gunman for 5,000 pesos to kill the mistress. That is how, for 5,000 pesos. That is how bad gun violence in the Philippines is. And that is, again, yes, EJK. So how can you say that all your listed victims, all your listed complainants are supposed victims of the drug war? It can be that it is a crime against passion. It can be murder because of a third party in a relationship. It can be plain hold up. So how can they say now that all the victims there are victims of the drug war that is supposed to be a crime against humanity? So that is the crime. And what are they doing right now? This is 1 year past the day President Duterte arrived in The Hague. How many? 1 year and 1 year and 4 months. And nothing has happened in the case. It is an unjust delay and unjust detention of President Rodrigo Duterte. Mainly because he does not pose a flight risk. He will never impede, obstruct any investigation. We saw that already when he was president, when he was not president. And third, he will not continue to commit crimes kuno, because that was a program during his administration, an implementation of a policy by government. How can an implementation of a policy by government be a crime against humanity? That is the ICC and the case of Rodrigo Roa Duterte. They are holding an 81-year-old who cannot make his own bed, who cannot even clean his own room, who has bed sores, who has so many
Oh my gosh. Bye.
aches and pains because of old age. For whom? For the reputation of ICC? For Marcos? For Trillanes? For money? For what? For whose interest is the ICC serving now? That is the case of Rodrigo Roa Duterte. He should be released, and he should be released immediately.
ASAP!
If we want to go after supposed EJK, supposed murders we can easily file it in Philippine courts. Bakit ko nasabi natuta ni Marcos? Kasi sumusunod sino yun? Sumusunod sila kay Trillanes at Marcos. At hindi lang yan, pinapanindigan pa nila yung kanilang pagsunod kay Marcos at kay Trillanes. And so, this is not about justice. This is about politics in the Philippines. Because who was the first to be sent to detention? President Marcos. Next, President Duterte. Next, pwede na. Para wala na akong gagawin mo. President Duterte. What's next? Bato. Next.
Marcoleta!
Harry Roque. Revilla Jingoy is Mike Defensor. You see the pattern?
Yes!
So this is all about politics. Marcos supporting ICC, ICC supporting. If the ICC right now is fighting for its life because America, the United States, and its powerful allies are going after ICC. If the ICC wants the world to respect the institution, they should first know how to respect the law.
Yes!
Because this is a time in the history of the world where the motto of institutions is bend the law. Bend the law for your
Yari ito po.
interest and for the interest of your allies. Mga kababayan, ang lahat ng ginagawa natin ay para sa Diyos, sa bayan, at para sa bawat pamilyang Pilipino.
Ayan ha, pinakinggan na natin si Sara.
Sa Pilipinas, kilala ang tindi. Hindi kayang bayaran ni numan ang kanyang prinsipyo. Kapag may inaapi, siya ang nariyan. Kapag may bayaran, siya
Alam mo, yan po, nagulat ako sa speech ni Sara. Pagkaring ng English, dire-diretso lang. Yan ang tinuturo ng mga iba na bubo raw. Alam mo, ang taas ng barik sa bringtig niya. 80, napakalaki yun, napakataas yun. Sabay kami kumuha ng barik sa 2005. Mas mataas ako sa kanya ng konti. So, at least nakita nyo na ang sitwasyon. Wala talaga mangyayari sa buhay si Marcos. Habang yung si Marcos sinisuportahan ng kagaya kay Benny Cremador, wala, hindi matatanggalin yung si Marcos. Sunod-sunod na survey ng Conscience at SWS. Tapos may hawak sila na survey na baliktad naman ang resulta. Okta Research. Ngayon, Okta Research ay ibang resulta. Ang dalawang pinaka-respetadong survey firm ay ang Pulse at SWS. Nagsasabi naman ng iba. Wala nang interes ng tao sa impeachment panood. Sinasabi na doon. Tapos sinasabi ko doon na 58% ang trust rating ni Sara. At sinasabi pa rin sa policy sa survey na mananalo si Sara pagka-presidente, number 1 siya sa lahat ng rehiyon. Sa rehiyon ng mga Ilocano, rehiyon ng mga Kapampangan, rehiyon ng mga Pagkasinisi, rehiyon po ng mga Egurut, o mga Cordillerian, sa rehiyon po ng mga Katagalugan, rehiyon po ng mga Bicolano, ay number 1 siya. Biro mo balance sa puso niya, number 1 na siya. Ganun na po ka ano ka galit na yung galit na yung mga ibang lugar sa mga kwan. Lalo ng mga Ilocano sa Ilocos Sur, Ilocos Norte. Ay pasikreto lang yan. Mga Ilocano dyan sa La Union, Ilocano sa Pangasinan. So, nakikita na natin, minsan lang si Sara naging iyan lang mga kulang niya. Pero pagdating sa Mindanao, ay 87% po siya. Hindi balik ka rin naman ang kalyo ko. Talagang 87% po ay manabubuto kay Sara. Pagdating naman sa Visayas, 53% po sa Visayas ay nabubuto kay Sara. Yan ang katotohanan. Pagdating naman sa Metro Manila, lamang pa rin si Sara Duterte. So, yan, ladies and gentlemen, yan ang katibayan. Yan ang katibayan na wala na, nagkukumahog na, natatakot na, natataranta na ang grupo ni Marcos. Okay? O, sige, habang patapos yan, yan na lang at maraming salamat po sa inyo. Tapos, kailangan ko, anong nasabi, matagal yung kwento ni Sara pa ulit-ulit. Alam mo, Ben Recamador, pag hindi pinagpakinggan, kailangan inuulit-ulit. Ganun po yan, Ben Recamador. Otherwise, tatahimik-tahimik ka lang, kakatayin ka. Cholesterol, good morning. Class, good morning, teacher. So, Ben Recamador ulit, hanggang dyan lang po tayo. Magandang umaga po sa inyong lahat.